Hi, I'm Jon Leslie. I'm here today with Matt Ott. He's Development Director on mobile games, and we're going to be chatting about his experience in the game industry, what are some of the challenges in the game industry related to production and development, and also share some of his experiences with Favreau. So, hi, Matt.
Hey,
Thanks
John.
for being with us.
Of course.
Good to see you again.
Likewise.
Matt and I met while he was working at Zynga and have continued a relationship through a number of studios since. And I want to kind of get the ball rolling just with what's your experience, what's your background in game development, what have you been doing since Zynga?
Sure. Well, I started at Electronic Arts Los Angeles working on the Command and Conquer PC strategy games. Continued working in AAA for a while and then took an opportunity at Zynga. It was very exciting times at Zynga as it went through its peak growth, learned a lot about the free-to-play business there. And after leaving Zynga, switched over to mobile game development, where I've been ever since.
Excellent, excellent. So on your current project, can you give me a feel for the team size and how long is the project running?
Yeah, we've been in development for a little over 3 years. We're soft launched right now in Canada, which is an exciting milestone for us. And we're a team of about 60, and we'll probably grow a little bit more as we get ready for our worldwide launch.
Excellent, excellent. So as far as your experience in game development and how it's evolved over the years, what would you say are kind of some of the biggest challenges and have those challenges changed over time?
As a producer, you mean? Or
Yeah.
project manager? Yeah, I mean, I think at its core, it doesn't really matter too much which form of media you're using and what business model you're using. At the end of the day, you're still trying to take a creative experience and manage all the complexities of getting it developed and realized and brought into functional software and released to customers and players. So, a lot of the challenges that we're facing are the same in terms of how you organize a team, how you think about creative problems, how you develop and release, but the specifics have changed dramatically. And probably one of the biggest exceptions to that, I would say, is that our relationship with our players has changed a lot over the last 10 years. We used to, as you know, gold master a game and release it and then just hope it all goes well. But today, we release our games in our beta. We have daily communications with our players. We're releasing updates and patches. And even after we're live, we continue to support our game through releases and updates for many, many years to follow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. So as far as process goes, would you say you're a mix between waterfall and agile, more agile?
Yeah, we try not to be too dogmatic about anything on our development teams, and I've found that what's best is when you split your development team into small pods. Each pod is tackling a problem, whether it's a feature or live operating the game or something like that, and you let that small working group sort of decide how they want to operate, which is actually one of the reasons why we enjoy using Favreau, because we can take each different pod and they can design their own workflow and systems of working and the things that they care about throughout that workflow and manage the release process while still sharing and communicating that information with the other folks who need to see it.
Very cool, very cool. So you mentioned Favreau.
Mm-hmm.
So when did you first start using Favreau on the current project?
Pretty early in development. We had completed the idea phase and we had been greenlit. We were a team of about 10 to 12 at that time, and we were looking for a project management tool as we began to enter our production phase and scale.
And so as far as tools go, and Favreau in particular, what would you say makes it such a good fit for game development, especially for your current project?
Sure. A lot of past projects I've worked on have used very complicated and very rigid tools, whether it's DevTrack or Jira or things like that. And in my experience, while that's great to force the workflow on things like bug tracking or finaling a game, when you're in the early phases of development, the more creative phases of development, I find I don't like to be fighting with the tools that I'm using. And so Favreau is great because it's very collaborative and real time, and you can break the workflows and set them up as you need for each working group. And it's very fast. So we could pull up a Favreau board in a meeting. Yeah, create it on the spot in the meeting with as we're designing a feature, put cards up for tasks, assign them out, set our columns for what the specific problem at hand requires, move the cards through. So it's very fast and it doesn't get in the way of the work that we're doing.
So have you found that it maybe started with development teams and then started to spread to other types of teams?
Yeah, we've explored using it in a couple of different contexts. We definitely started using it with our development team as we work on various features. We switched over our recruiting team to using it for managing our candidate recruiting pipeline. We also have used it for reporting at a project level on some of the upcoming milestones or status of all the different pods, bringing it all together. It's very convenient to have everything in the same tool. We also shared it with our partners, so we're making a licensed game and our licensor uses Favreau to track approvals and things like that. So it's easy for us to assign assets that are ready for review out to that specific board. Let those external users come in and review it.
So do you feel like a tool like Favreau can adapt to different ways of working?
Yeah, I mean, this is a little tangentially related, but one of the cool things about being a Favreau customer for so long is seeing how the tool has evolved. And a lot of new features have been added to it as we go, things like real-time collaboration on the cards, so the cards can kind of become their own design documents, sort of like Google Documents, and the creation of the new interface with the sidebar, where we can track all our different boards and see the activity as you move from context to context.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of really interesting ways that you can use Favreau in new contexts, and I feel like we're always finding new ways to use it.
So have you used any of the Favreau integrations to connect to Jira, for example, or to connect to Slack?
Yeah, we use Favreau with Slackbot, and that's a very convenient way to see the updates on cards and boards that you follow in the place where you're doing your work, in Slack.
In your time in the industry, you've been in the industry a long time. In your time in the industry, as things have gone from, as you say, AAA game development, Gold Masters, to more live ops, ongoing games,
Yeah.
especially in mobile, where you have much more of a sense of what the players are doing, getting that daily feedback. How do tools and process come into play in those type of scenarios, and how has that added to the challenge of being a development director, being a game producer?
Yeah. When you're live operating a game, the degree of difficulty doesn't just double, it goes up exponentially because you need to move at a very high rate of speed because your players are expecting, in some cases, daily updates of new content and events and monthly updates of new characters and game features and the like. And the stakes are incredibly high because you've got this massive player base who's formed a habit with your game, who love your game and are a part of your community, who expect great things out of you every single day. So a mistake can be very highly punished in this space as well. So you're moving really fast and the stakes are really high. So the project management complexities of live operating a game have grown significantly. And that's one of the reasons we use Favreau, is because it's a very quick tool. So you could be in a meeting in the morning as you're uncovering a new issue with your game and you're spinning up a work group to solve it, and you can just create a new board, type in the tasks in real time in the meeting. You're not bogged down by all the required fields or workflows or things like that. Put some assignments on it.
It would be tough to use Jira in a situation like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's good in anything that's very urgent. It's great to have the flexibility.
Flexible, right. So along those same lines, I mean, I guess as much as there are additional challenges with ongoing games, gaming as a service, games as a service, whatever you want to call it, it's nice too to be able to take something that maybe wasn't a success at first and get that feedback, that real-time feedback even.
Sure.
And evolve the game to be something that is good and does resonate with the players.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the biggest advantages of the platform. I think that's the reason why this has been so successful, is because we get to have these daily relationships with our players and we can make changes and improve the game to make it even better for them as the months go on.
So another question for you, Matt, as far as customer success, customer service with Favreau, because it's not just the software, it's not just the actual app or the tools, it's also how well those tools are supported.
Right.
Can you give me a couple of examples where you've had good experiences maybe?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the decision to spin up a new project management tool with a large organization like ours was not one that we undertook lightly. We had to go through a technical evaluation. We had to have our production community review and determine that this was going to be a good step for us. And after we made the decision to switch, it was actually quite easy because we had a lot of really good support from the Favreau team. They sent, actually I think it was yourself, down to our studio to help teach us best practices on how to use it. We did some workshops on that. We also had technical support for making sure that the integration went smoothly and getting everything set up. So that's a joy compared to working with some of the larger, more established companies that have such giant client bases that it's hard to get that level of personal attention.
Yeah, that's a good point. It sounds like you've had some good experience with Favreau, and again, thank you for taking the time to speak with me.
Sure.
In closing, would you like to offer to people who are going to be tuning into this interview any words of wisdom, advice for people who are currently in game production, game development, or maybe people who are curious about game production, or maybe students who are about to enter the world of game development?
Yeah, one of the things that we try and do here as a studio is just to always remain curious, whether that's about new project management workflows or new feature ideas or just iterating on or changing your game. Planning is invaluable, but plans are pretty worthless, as the saying goes. And so having a very flexible tool and a very flexible mindset where you can just evaluate the problems that you're facing, pivot very quickly, respond to customer feedback or your own internal feedback if you're not yet released, and not being, sort of beholden to some master plan you created months ago. The flexibility has really been the key to our development studio's success, I think.
Yeah, inspect and adapt.
Yeah,
what it's all
that's
about.
right.
Yeah, all right, well, very good. Again, thanks very much, Matt, for being with us.
Absolutely.
Taking the time to do this. It's much appreciated. And best of luck in your current project.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Cheers.
Cheers.